What's up, Way of Sports? It's Lamont. We back with another podcast episode. And we definitely got to talk about it. Warriors Celtics NBA Finals Game 4, one of the more pivotal games of this series for multiple reasons for both teams. When you talk about a Boston Celtic team that had already went into Golden State, they stole one on the road. You want to capitalize and double down on that by when you come to Boston, you want to win both of those home games. So when you do have to go back to Golden State's home, you're up 3-1, which would have gave them probably an insurmountable 3-1 series lead. When you're the Golden State Warriors, obviously you gave up that home game, a game that you probably should have won. You want to at least be able to go in Boston and split so you can come out tied. You don't want to go down 3-1. Generally being down 3-1 is, it's usually a death sentence for most teams because it's extremely hard to win 3 games in a row in the NBA Finals. But we talk about a game 4 performance. This is where stars need to shine their brightest. And going into this game, when we went live, there were a lot of people in the live chat. They were asking one primary question. Will Steph Curry step up? And not just step up, could he step up when it mattered most in the fourth quarter? And Steph Curry dominated Game 4, as you guys already know, with 43 points against the Celtics to tie this series. And what's even more impressive is that this is the 27th consecutive playoff series that the Warriors have won a game on the road. And that was just another reason why Boston really needed to lock in and get both of those home games because of that potential record. And unfortunately for the Celtics, the Warriors were able to keep grasp on that record by winning another road game in the NBA Finals. We have Game 5. That's going to be Monday night. But today, I want to talk about the Celtics and the particular strategies that they're trying, or at least attempting to utilize to defend Steph Curry. When we went live the other day, we had a lot of different people came onto the live panel. You had some people said, continue to switch. Right when we talked to True the King, some people said drop coverage. Right. Other people said we just need to simply blitz Steph Curry to slow him down. Right. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to this Game 4 because Steph has been having a really good series up until this point with regards to scoring the ball. But Game 4, he was just red hot and he completely obliterated him with 43 points. And so I really want to go to the footage to see what different types of defensive schemes did this Boston Celtic team attempt to utilize to slow Steph Curry down. Was it because the Boston Celtics defense faltered, or was it because Steph Curry was just superhuman that night and just went ballistic and he wasn't going to allow this Golden State Warrior to go back into Golden State down 3-1? We're going to go ahead and get to the footage to find out the facts on what happened in Game 4. Let's go ahead and get to the highlights. All right, here we have it right here. We're going to break down some of these plays. And so what we see right here, and I'm going to stop it right here. We see the first adjustment that Boston made is picking up Steph Curry as soon as he crosses half court. Now, this is a strategy that a lot of people in the chat, where we had discussions on how to guard Steph Curry, a lot of people said they need to blitz him to this degree. Do not let him walk into his sets, get comfortable. Go pick him up at half court, make it extremely hard for him. And you look at this potential strategy, this would make it hard for 95% of the players in the NBA would struggle with this type of defense, especially when it's coming from the number 1 defense in the NBA in the Boston Celtics. So we're going to watch how they're guarding it. Obviously, the Warriors have to find a way to get these defenders up off of them. You have to utilize the pick and roll in these instances. And the Warriors are one of the best screening teams in the league, as we see that they're sending a screen over for Steph Curry. So here's the screen coming over. Curry's coming off. And so the Celtics do what they do best. They switch. So they've switched this screen. So now we need to see, because the Celtics are the best switching team in the NBA, what has Steve Kerr developed within this office to combat the effective switches that you will see from this Boston Celtic defense. So he's sending another screen, and this time he's sending a screen with the man that's being defended by Horford. We see Payton push. We see him push Tatum up. And so here's another thing that we haven't seen all series. earlier in this series, Tatum was behind the 3-point line. The adjustment that we see the Celtics making now on this potential drop coverage when Tatum can't recover is we see Horford now still playing Steph Curry well beyond the 3-point line. Look, he's in a pretty decent stance. We're talking about a center out here. He has a hand out to contest. This is really the type of defense that you want played on Steph Curry. And as the play evolves, Steph Curry, with his elite shooting ability, is still able to get a tough shot off. He gets pushed in the back and still makes a tough shot. You really can't ask for much better defense than this. So again, in this particular instance, we're talking about a guy who's just still scoring on elite defense. And when we look at the alternatives, Horford can't really play any closer, because if Horford plays any closer, Steph Curry's going to have an easy drive to the lane. Horford's foot speed is not to the likes of a Steph Curry. Curry will easily go around if he plays up any higher. So they're playing Steph Curry for the 3, but they're also playing safe to a certain degree with an understanding of what their personnel is, because if Steph can drive and beat Horford, that's essentially a 3-on-2. And we know that the Warriors practice a 3-on-2 fast break drill almost every single practice, and that would be ideal. That would be a bucket waiting to happen. So when you look at this, obviously they don't want it the 3-on-2 down low, so you have to play up, and we see it right here. He plays up, and Steph just makes a great shot. We have another sequence right here. The pick and roll happens. What do? They switch, right? They're not running drop, they're switching. But what do? They're throwing a slight blitz at him, which some people said, well, maybe they need to try to get the ball out of Steph Curry's hands. We'll see how Steph Curry reacts to doubles. So we see Wiggins is the roll guy, right? Obviously, even Wiggins is a threat, but their backs are to Wiggins. They're completely focused on Steph Curry. How does this defense? He throws a simple hezzy at Horford, gets him up off of him. Steph Curry still knocks down the step back 3, even with good defense. That really wasn't bad defense. There's not much more you can ask Horford to do. If Horford plays any closer, Steph's going to burn him at the rim. The Celtics right now, to this point, based on some of the reads that I'm seeing, are just getting burned by an elite shooter. So it's just great offense beating out great defense. And so we have another sequence here. Marcus Smart comes up. He's picking up Steph as soon as he crosses half court. But this goes to the IQ of Steph Curry. What we see right here is we see Steph Curry, and Wiggins is coming over for the screen. We see Steph Curry rejecting the screen. And this is a strategy that high IQ players can utilize. And Horford, who's already cheating over, by him rejecting the screen, he's going to start keeping Horford honest. Horford can't cheat on that screen now. And watch what happens as he takes the screen. He rejects it. But Horford, out of place because he was cheating up, gets burned for the layup at the rim. So Steph Curry's IQ won out right there because he's made so many threes off those pick and rolls. And because they're so anxious on what to do, he's speeding them up. And then we see what happens right here. When Al Horford plays too close, Steph Curry's easily able to get around them, literally with really little to no effort. Horford's behind the play. They have to cheat over. Steph Curry gets to the rim and has a multitude of options, so the Celtics send great help. But what happens? Now they're overloaded. Steph does a good job of continuing to move without the ball. Peyton drops the field behind pass, and they get the 3. That's a very popular play for the Warriors. And then Steph Curry right here. Robert Williams, the switches on these bigs. Like, these bigs don't have the foot speed to stay in front of them. People talk about Steph Curry's limited bag. He only shoots 3s. That's not true. So we have another sequence right here. Okay. So here was another strategy. There was a strategy where one of the subscribers in the chat where we discussed this game said they just need to blitz him, make him give up the ball. Well, blitzing Steph Curry, not just one of the best players in the NBA, but one of the highest IQ players in the NBA, is not as easy as it sounds, even for the best defense in the NBA in the Boston Celtics. Let's watch how Robert Williams and Jaylen Brown attempt to blitz Steph Curry. He avoids the blitz. Williams falls back, and now you have Tatum and Brown attempting to blitz and double him while Klay Thompson is behind the play. But you have to be wary of everybody else, all of the other weapons. and Klay Thompson, who was already struggling, you give him a wide open three at the top of the key, and he's able to knock it down. So the IQ here. And so we have another play right here. They attempt to blitz him, force him to give up the ball. But when you blitz him, the problem now is that Steph is a great passer. People forget this. Steph's a great passer. He throws the ball over to Draymond Green. He throws it over the defense. And now you have Draymond Green, one of the best playmakers in the league, in the middle of the court with the basketball with a number of options because they have an advantage. And we see here, and this was a pivotal portion play in the game where Looney is able, he throws the dump down pass, and this is something that we've seen Draymond do a lot. The Warriors have seen Steph Curry get blitzed. So this is nothing new. The Cavs attempted to do this against the Warriors, so they're used to him getting blitzed. This is something that they've worked on from time to time, and this is something that they've mastered. So simply blitzing him is not effective. Looney gets the layup at the rim, and again, this was one of those pivotal buckets in the game. And we have another pick and roll. We have Derek White, who cheats over. So now we see that they've switched to a form of drop coverage where Robert Williams is dropping to stay in front. He does have to be mindful of a roller, and Derek White actually on this particular play does a great job of fighting over giving a contest. So much so of a contest that a lot of people felt that this play was a foul. But Steph Curry's ability to make tough shots, as you see right here, he still makes the tough three. He doesn't get the foul, and even with great defense from the Boston Celtics, Steph Curry is still able to knock the tough shot down, and we see another tough three right there. Again, these are highly contested. Look at Derek White's hand. His hand is in Steph Curry's face. He's defending without fouling. He's not landing in his shooting range. I don't know what you want this Celtic team to do outside of all of these strategies. We've seen them try drop coverage, and they've tightened it up to contain the three-point line. That's not working. They're attempting to blitz him. Steph Curry's IQ is burning him because he's making the right reads, and the guys who get the ball are actually making shots or making plays in designed mismatches where the Celtics are left 2-on-1 or 3-on-2. But this is just another tough shot that he's making on great defense. Right? The Boston Celtics team, I don't want to go and just run and say that they're playing bad defense. A lot of people are saying that now Udoka's getting out coached. That is not the case. They're just running into a superstar in Steph Curry who's hitting his stride, and his will to win is superseding what the Celtics are able to do to stop him. Okay? And there we have it right there. Look, you guys, Steph Curry, man. Steph Curry with one of the greatest playoff performances in the NBA Finals that we've seen. 14 of 26 from the field, 7 of 14 from the three-point line. And not just that, the man had 10 rebounds. He was all over the court. And when we look at the variation and the multitude of ways that he was able to score the ball, off the bounce, off the catch, bringing the ball up the court, off the DHOs, any way you want it, Steph Curry was giving it to the Celtics. And the Celtics, only thing you can do in this particular instance, if you're the Celtics, is you can just shake Steph Curry's hand because he was scoring over essentially great defense. The type of defense that the Boston Celtics were running, this would have worked if you're talking about some of the guards in the league, even some of the good guards in the league, like a Trae Young, or, even if they can shoot, Luka Doncic. This type of defense that they're running would have some type of effect against those players. But when we're talking about a man like Steph Curry, this is the greatest shooter that we've seen in this particular era. If not, most people believe he's the greatest shooter of all time. He is just playing at an unreal level right now, and his offense is beating out great defense. So again, the Golden State Warriors have found a way to tie this series up. They go into Boston, they steal game 4, and I don't even want to say they stole it because they really came in and took that game. They were in the game from start to finish. I felt like the Boston Celtics, fourth quarter came around, they got jittery, they got nervous, they fell into turning the ball over again. But you have to give kudos to the Warriors defense. I mean, Draymond Green with 5 steals. When you talk about Wiggins, Looney, these guys, when you look at the stat sheet, is it that impressive when you look at some of these guys, even though Wiggins did have 17 points and 16 rebounds? But a lot of times when you look at the stat sheet for players like Wiggins, Looney, and Draymond, you're not too impressed. But I don't think they get enough recognition for the things that they do with regards to helping create shots for Steph Curry, create spacing for him. But then on the defensive end, really helping to contain this Boston Celtic offense so that Steph Curry can be so lethal on the offensive end and give this team a chance to win. So we got Game 5 Monday in Golden State. Series is tied. The series can go any direction. I'm curious to see how the Warriors come out and attack, because we have seen the Warriors have these big-time letdown games, even at home. And so I really want to watch for that. The Celtics have found a way in every single game to get off to a good start. I think in all of these games, they've gotten off to a start where they have the lead in the first quarter, and the Warriors seem to have to try to fight their way from deficits in the first quarter and second quarter. So that's going to be something that I'm going to be watching for as well. I also want to be watching for shooting. Klay Thompson, when you look at Klay Thompson, Wiggins, Peyton, Draymond, these guys are eventually going to have to make shots. I mean, if you expect to plan, are you expecting for Curry to carry you for another game to this magnitude, the likelihood of that actually happening is extremely low. Steph's a great player. I expect him to go above 30 again, but again, to drop 40 and to carry you to victory like that is extremely taxing, and I don't know if he can duplicate that type of performance. So I really want to see some of the others on this team step up. This is what they're getting paid big dollars for. Steph Curry's done his job up until this point. I mean, the Warriors obviously gave up that game one, put themselves in this situation. The Celtics are not going away, so they still have a tough task in Game 5 of winning this game at home and then going into Boston, hopefully, to seal the deal. If Boston wins, then we have a Game 7. So, again, great game, great NBA Finals, much better than I anticipated. I know when you're talking about the NBA Finals, when you got some of the best names at home, you're talking about LeBron, Anthony Davis, KD, Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Embiid, Jokic, all of these superstars are at home. We're looking at a young Celtic team that's blossoming, and they're trying to develop into superstars. We're looking at a Warrior team that's probably at the tail end side of their dynasty, looking to close out this potential dynasty run in winning fashion with another championship. I mean, there's so many storylines that you can appreciate, even without the big time names participating in this NBA Finals. But hey, as FYF Sportsman, it's been another great podcast episode. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts about the Boston Celtics. Let me know your predictions. Have your predictions changed any now that we see how Steph is changing? I mean, there were a lot of people on the fence about the Warriors after Game 3. Now that the series back tied and we see that Steph Curry is looking unstoppable, does that change your thoughts on the outcome of this series? So make sure you guys let us know what you think about this series in the comments. But it's FYF Sportsman. It's been another great podcast episode. We will be back with more sports and news. But until then, it's FYF Sports, and we out.